Yes, I'm John Moxham. Been designing powerboats, mainly deep V powerboats, for many years, more than I care to think of now. I was an apprentice at Holland Aircraft, and after I did my national service in the RAF, came out and it was all being amalgamated, so there wasn't much point in going back there. And as I left as a technical illustrator, I was working on the manuals for the pilot's notes and things like that. Because I could do illustrations, it meant I could draw anything basically. So I started looking around for other things, one of which was boats. And I did work for Fairy Marine. Alan Bernard, the famous designer. Eventually he was getting me to do some of his drawing work, stuff probably that he couldn't be bothered to do, and I learned that the deep V hull was the way to go. But he also really taught me the rudiments of why the deep V is so good. And then I started doing some work as well for Sonny Levy. Now, probably two of the greatest planing boat designers in our part of the world anyway. So I did learn a lot very quickly, and being the sort of character that I am, I wanted to add my own influence to it, and also knowing what makes an aircraft fly was a great asset, because a plane in a hull has got a lot in common with the wings of an aircraft, particularly the undersurfaces, and I realised that I could get more lift out of the boat. Instead of just having a straight V hull, which means you've got to have quite a high angle, much more of an angle of an attack than you would on an ordinary shallow V boat. So the way to do it was to widen it effectively at the back. So I'm making a wedge in the water as well as the deep V planing. I had the wedge working for me, which was lifting the hull to the surface. And to achieve this, in effect, I split the hull and spread it and joined with a curve. And this curve gives you a lot of extra lift. It doesn't cause any problems with the handling of the boat. In fact, it improves it. And then I looked at the spray rails and I curved them. Instead of them having them just slapped on straight, I blended them into the hull more, so that it throws the water down without any loss of efficiency. To do a boat of this size, and I came up with the best hull I could to do it. Yeah. It was a departure from the small boats of the time. They nearly all had very flat, very slight V's, if V's at all. So it did take a bit of getting used to for some customers. But soon they were all doing it. Yeah. Wedge-shaped hull, which in effect the V widens out at the back end. It's not apparent, but that's what's happening. And the space in between is filled in with a curve, and this is what makes it very, very easy to plane, and at the same time it's still very much a deep V hull. It took me right back to all those years, yes, and it's still as good as ever. You can bank it, do what you like with it, you won't upset it. I mean, obviously with the length of boat, any boat will perform better or smaller with extra length, but for the size of the boat, it's be very hard to beat this hull, and that's why it's lasted. In fact, several people have had a go with this hull, and with their own tops, so a lot of people probably wouldn't know they were the same hull, but it has proved itself, that's for sure, over the years.
Yeah.
I got involved with the Scorpion boats, and their sting, which I did the cabin to and made alterations to the hull, won quite a few task trophies in the Chaos Torquay races, which I was very pleased with, and I mean, even things like the Broads cruisers. This sounds strange because you can't do very much to the hull of a Broads cruiser. What I did do was to alter the shape, and now they all start to look like nice streamlined boats, not with the boxes that they all were when I started. So that's quite. When I go to Norfolk and see them, it's quite pleasurable to see them all floating around.